Welcome back. The early morning hours. Some of the party may be rousing from their sleeps. Two of which we know already freshly awoken in the cold morning hernding near winter. Rowan and Ella cozily bundled up in the old barn. Rowan and
Ella's his mom.
Rowan and his mom. Dude, he was always a mama's boy. No. And immersion ruined. Ella is Rowan's mom. No, Evelyn. Why did you give him similar names? Rowan.
I don't know.
Evelyn.
Why did you give the queen similar names?
My immediately. That's true. Listen, Dom's dad just had a type. Okay, he liked those Ella names. You know, those Eth names. I thought you were initially saying like no, like you weren't in the barn. I'm like, yes, you are in the barn. No, you're right. Just not with your mom. Not with your mom. Oh, okay. So Rowan's in the barn fucking his mom. No. Back to the... No, comedy. Evelyn and Rowan have their sweet little sentimental moment. And Asher, finishing up his conversation with Falzen, heeding some advice, wise as it may be, from someone who has dealt with similar circumstances in some ways, in some aspects in his life, and taking those words with him, he steps out from the barn itself. And you see a light snowfall happening now that the white snowflakes, translucent as they are, reflect some of the light of the very early morning that's just now creeping up above the tree line. Some aspects where those rays drift in through the trees and the leaves, the pines tall and hernding. It's cold. You take notice of your own breath in an attempt to relax in the current situation and chaos of all that's going on. Something further off into the woods, northern from where you've come only recently, the day before, just arriving home there. Something that among the scattered plottings of white that is the snow-covered ground, you see a more dense, just out of the kind of the peripheral vision, just a quick glimpse of something a bit more densely white. At first feeling almost like a just like a thicker snowdrift or something like that, but no, it's moving. It passes along through the tree line and actually back behind the barn itself.
This is for Rowan, right?
Nope, this is for Asher. Sorry.
Okay.
I guess he'll go and investigate it. Probably having a pretty good idea of what it is gonna be.
Which is?
I'm assuming another dire wolf.
Go investigate.
Yep, he will go back there and kind of...
Go on!
Yeah, he'll go back and just kind of see what's moving.
Taking your step back that way, expecting to see maybe just one of those frost dire wolves. Larger, It's large enough that it could have been. What you now initially see through some of the evergreens there, even still concealed by the bush, lightly camouflaged within some of the more wintry areas, what looks, or what you anticipate to see, the fur dense and thick, that of a wolf. Doesn't seem to be. It seems to be more of a sheen. It almost glistens, and like the very snowflakes themselves, has that same kind of reflective quality, but it almost seems to emanate off of its own self. And then you hear as it steps out of view once again, back behind more of the dense brush up there, just a and then you hear the almost hoofs kind of gently clopping through that wood.
He'll go up and, realizing it's like a loose horse or something, he'll try to carefully go up and see if he can bait it over.
Yeah. Working your way up that slight inclination there and into the woods deeper, catches your attention that yes, it is the frame of a horse. It nuzzles its nose into the dirt, kind of looking through the snow for some good grasses or other yummy herbs. But then when it raises its head up, the first thing that you notice is not the head or the ears or the mane, it's the horn, singular, that stands from within its own forehead. And it turns its attention to you and gently turns, makes its way over to you, and that glistening now makes a lot more sense. That emanating sparkle is just one of the many aspects of a creature such as this. A creature who also happens to be the symbol, the icon of your own deity. For the first time, the only time that presence, not the only time, you've had the other encounters with the other different physical manifestations, but the only time where that presence is felt tactile and real. Still not to that full extent of that which you've envisioned when you've even had that moment with Rowan, where Rowan got to experience that with you. It gently walks over to you as if to a caretaker, as a horse would, and it sniffs your hands as if treats or anything like that.
He'll. The only thing he had. He'll cast Goodberry and, give it treats.
Delightfully eats them out of your hand. And then it raises its head up and then turns and looks off to its left. And then in a quicker saunter heads off kind of out of sight. And as it heads off out of sight behind a decent-sized rock formation with different evergreens growing out from that, sturdy as they may be, and a light emanates from behind that rock. That light goes dim, but still persists to a certain extent. At this point, it makes its way out from behind that rock, and you see what was once seen in a vision state, once again with Rowan, that almost elven figure with very just thin, ethereal like linens, silks that just drape over their frame. Tall, very tall, and slender, majestic of foot as well. That same glistening from the unicorn emanates off of this figure as well, and it's almost hard to behold, as if that same, like, going from dark into the bright daylight of the snow reflection. If you've had that, like, it's hard to drive that way, am I right? Like, jeez, yeah, exactly. The snow is just that same kind of, like, hard to behold essence is there, and the ears that are once again longer than traditional elves, certainly of elven kind or elven design to a large degree, but again, those little white, almost fawn speckles that decorate her skin as well. She, one foot in the other, in a graceful catwalk, lightly lifting up the length and tail of her own flowing dress to avoid it dragging across the snows and muds and earth, makes her way over to you. She smiles lightly.
Asher's just, like, in shock of, like, I, like, looks around. Why now? What?
There is much work to be done. I have to ask, Asher, where is your hope?
I think at this point, the only hope that I have is within the party. I know you've set me on a path, but I do believe that without the party, none of it will. The world can't be. I can't leave it this way.
I have set you on a path. She gets much closer to you now at this point, and then gently drops to the ground in a crouch, and lightly but yet effortlessly, with slender and elegant hands and fingers, digs into the dirt and the mud there, scraping away the snow first, makes just a little hole, and in that reaches over to her side and pulls out a seed from a pouch which appears to have only had just one seed, for whatever significance that is. And in that one seed, she plants it into the ground there, and then gently just covers it back up with the dirt. How much doubt do you have that that will grow?
I mean, it depends on how the world treats it. There's a lot of influences right now.
It is true, there are many things that can trample that which has been planted and only freshly sprouted. But what I have planted in you, do you think I am a careless tender of that which I plant in this earth?
Of course not.
And even if one were to neglect the seeds that are planted, yes, it may still grow yet. But with care, it is almost assured that which is planted will grow. You have seen as is the state of your own hope and doubt. And to the degree of faith that you have, the visions in which you've been gifted, even those you see through a lens of your own state of hope and doubt. There is still more yet to see and to learn from. So I ask once again, where is your hope?
My hope is that I can fulfill the seed that you planted, that we can see this through to the end, and that he's gonna look back to the house.
As you look back towards the house, she looks that way as well and then turns her attention back to you and then kind of carefully says, "And such is with seeds that are planted with care and tendering, their safety and growth can be assured." And that is for all that is planted. Hear this. From what you have seen and what you are to still yet see. Her tone kind of changes into almost, if it were possible to feel such, or to express from this being, a sense of frustration, it comes across in this, that she says now in this tone. There are many mercies to be given to those displaced from their lands. From that which you will see, you will learn this, and make manifest the seeds which have been planted. She takes a branch with kind of like a like Y hook to it, like one of those where it's this and then it has kind of like the Y hook, gently just like picks that up and then in a very odd display of the I guess juxtaposition of her elegance, just lightly taps it on her hand and then whips it around and like catches your ankle with it and yanks. And with that without even expecting such a thing to happen from someone such as this, you are hurled backwards, and it goes black. For a moment, what is just the sensation of ouch, my head, transitions back into this odd but familiar dream state as it returns to a vision of that around you. There is the sound of marching. Once again, you're back in this state, that familiar wolf dog. At this point, the party just leaving from engaging those undead and retreating back to their party, awaiting Prillin in his ride towards the unknown. In this state, already having one of them fallen, they rejoin that larger caravan, and what you see ahead is what starts out as a murmur of like worry and terror is them all noticing that Prillin has been struck down up ahead of them. And they see this, and some moments later they pause a little bit in their pace, but with some urging, Ravnik is able to coerce them to keep moving and try to gesture that they are not the army, that they mean no harm. But in this, they begin to make that diagonal approach after some time. After some time, that volley of arrows, the first one, makes its way through the caravan, some of it striking the luggage that is carried there at that time, and some of it striking those around you, in that you tuck your tail and scurry away, and you see some of those around you falling, as you had seen bits of that first time in that dream state. After some time, hurrying the pace, marching their way forwards, now more diagonal, trying to not be stuck between these two threats now. Very, very real, very obvious at this point. 4 or 5 struck down by that first volley. Others wounded but carrying on. A second volley makes its way through, the screams and terror and agony of those inflicted with these bolts from this now known threat. This one lesser. Still 4 fall around you. But the caravan and the group, through their screams and cries of desperation, they make their way through, knowing that with this distance they could surely reload 3 times more, 4 times more, and just slowly finish off the rest of them. But with that, each carry on, and you notice with that second volley of arrows, kind of crouched and hunkered down and avoiding those around you falling, Ravnik falls down. Still that among that wreckage of the lesser volley, but still second volley of arrows. And in that same one is where that arrow catches you, and the cries whimper out from the wolf dog and tries to bite at the arrow lunged into its kind of shoulder there, and it rolls into it, snaps off the arrow a little bit, and that seething pain rides through the body as well. And with that, a limp is developed in that front left leg there. And you carry on. A moment of darkness fades in, and then back out, and that adrenaline dumps through the body. And those that carry on push forward, facing that inevitable, that third volley of arrows. Just anticipation. Where we jump over to what was happening with Demacia and that leader now pointing the crossbow over to her for her insolence. There's a moment with the look in her eyes, steadfast in the choice and discernment that she's made. The leader, his finger presses on the trigger. Very heavy trigger pull on a crossbow such as this. Heavy enough that that look resounds within his spirit. He releases that tension off of the trigger, lowers the crossbow, takes a step towards her. At this point, the line completely broken. They're just looking at him, at least those in the proximity witnessing this happening. And we see as the third volley is cranked up as this interaction goes down, crossbows are raised. The leader, now one hand, holds the crossbow downward into the dirt, and with the left hand grabs at a horn on his side, and we hear a different bellowing of horns through this set, a quicker succession, still loud and echoes through that valley, where it is heard by the entire line, now raised, ready to fire that third volley. But with that, each of them go from the ready to fire to ready for orders. And the crossbows go up and to the chests of all that front line. And in that tension, no third volley comes. We see as the commander of the entire army has a look of confusion himself as he scurries over on his horseback to this leader of the crossbow front line there. He sallies out to meet him, and they have this discussion of words. The commander raises up a finger in this, and with that he makes clear his intentions and his intent. But this leader of the crossbow formation raises his own finger in defiance, and in his own sturdy gesturing from what can be seen from Demacia's point of view. The commander sighs, turns to his army, sighs once more, looks out towards that encroaching whatever it is at this point. And then slowly turns his attention back to the crossbow leader. And then just slowly but almost menacingly nods his head. And then picks up his horse and sallies out away off to the right to rally out the message to the rest of the group in this army. Several more horns are blared throughout the procession and formation. Back to the wolf dog. Making your way through that caravan and those few that had fallen from the volleys of crossbows. The screams die down after some time. You know full well more volleys could have come, but they didn't. And there's some kind of orders being given out, at least, that you can tell, and what awareness you do have of your own, that it seems that there's a form of ceasefire. Still menacing, as they've already are a little too late in some cases. But not all seem to need to die at this moment. But with another blare of a horn, there is a marching, and that speed and that distance closes between you and that army ahead of you. Easily they cut off diagonally. The soldiers march, ready to defend themselves in case the threat is still there. Tenseness and the encroaching of your own group. There is this element where they raise up their own weapons in just like anticipation and defense, but also in this same way, just saying like, we don't want to hurt you, you don't want to hurt us, please. And they see that desperation. The soldiers have their own like concern and worry, and you see the humanity in each of them as well in this moment of this confusion of what is happening. Like all of that we've waited for, and we're just going to let them go. It slows your progress significantly, but yet still that threat from behind approaches. There is this standoff between you and these soldiers, and the leader of that crossbow formation marches out towards you, and before he can even make his way to the group, the commander himself marches over on his own horse to the caravan, what's left of these refugees. He blares out, "Who among you is your leader?" And among that, people kind of look around, and a younger man speaks up. He's very thin with a scraggly kind of beard, early 20s, and even in that slightly kind of balding at the top. And he just kind of speaks up for the crowd. "We have none. We're all just villagers. We're fleeing. The true threat is back there. They're coming. That's who you need to defend yourself against." He saunters over to this man. "You have no leader, and you've made your way all over here. What threat?" "The undead. I don't know. They've been chasing us. Well, we've been fleeing, and we have nowhere else to go. Our whole country is damned. The threat that you seek, the enemy that you seek, is over there. The army of thousands that's been spoken of, that is them. We will defend ourselves. We will stand and fight. At least let those who are unable, or at least even unwilling, let them go. Keep them safe behind your lines. Please, show mercy. And the commander, mercy. Then looks at the crossbow leader in his own kind of resounding quiet, raises an eyebrow ever so slightly, and then looks over to the commander and just slowly nods, just yes, mercy. And with that, the commander shunts his nose back over to this young man. Mercy. Right then. Issues some orders to the guards around him, the soldiers around him. They march in among the group. Still this tension, weapons somewhat ready. There is this anticipation that sweeps through the group as they wait for what is encroaching. But these soldiers take the women, the children that are unable or unwilling to fight, and some of the elderly that managed to remain, and march them back behind the lines. The commander saunters up over to this man, and then others who look formidable in their own feeble way. Tell me about this threat. Undead. It's one of our lords. There was rumors, not all of us believed it until it happened to our own villages, but massacred all of our people and turned them into soldiers for the army. We didn't want to fight. Of course, there are some that do. But we don't. We just want to live. It's understandable. Those who can, steel yourselves. Get behind the first line. We have the shields and proper equipment. With that, the sound of those undead marches closer, and after what seems like an eternity, another person now taking to you. This wound in that left leg is making you feel weak in that front left leg. The army lines up, that crossbow line shoots their crossbows as they get closer. 4 volleys make their way through. It seems that horde is insurmountable, though. Yes, some fall with a volley of arrows, but it amounts to almost nothing as this horde of innumerable quantity makes its way through. This clash happens the same way that those few of the caravan guard trying to stand their ground. The war of Eswind and the dead of Zahath commences. Clash and clank of steel and the groans of the living and the dead resound in epic proportions as hundreds fall over the course of the battle, and bodies litter this blighted land. You, the wolf dog, lunge in to get in on some of the action with whatever gusto you can muster at this point, and you get this sense as one of the foes that you lunge up and bite at, grabbing a hold of their forearm as they try to nonchalantly defend themselves in their kind of zombified state. Tackle this one to the ground, trying to get through this small arm shield that they have as they defend themselves with no look of fear in their eyes, just this dead look. And then, while this dead look remains, there is this new look that flows over this one, as out of the peripheral vision you see this blue, almost watery essence flow from within the sky, from behind where this army has come from. And this ethereal just glimpse of this kind of blur of light travels into this undead. And yes, the undead look still remains, but this new look resounds over its face. Emotion that you have seen in normal victims of your attacks. A look of fear. Fear for one's life. Fear and confusion. And what was initially guttural nonsense is now transitioning into groans of terror and defending themselves. Wait, what? Get it off me! The mouth of this undead speaks. Still kind of gnawing at the arm of this, they bat away at you. And then you kind of catch in your peripheral vision glimpses of more of these little spirits flying into these undead. And this same, that groan and hush that has befallen this war zone is now a resounding cry of terror and confusion. All of those that are dead sharing this same sense of fear and terror. They begin to rush forward and rush away and scurry away. There's a look of confusion on the soldiers' faces, but they continue the fight, and they strike down as many as they can. More of those make their way past the lines, and you see the caravan of which you were initially traveling with. They strike down as many as they can as they rush past and rush away, trying to flee. A good number flee back from whence they came, but others break through the lines and just scurry away as fast as they can with the wounds and injuries that they have, the screams of terror and groans of pain litter this battlefield. You hear among some of those that remain the cries of the dead, longing to live, themselves begging for mercies in the face of these now two foes that they have encountered. The battle winds down to a certain extent, and the leaders rally around, and you watch as a group of these individuals rush out and away towards Eswind. And at the time, none take chase. They get some distance, And they're allowed it. Just a small group, wouldn't take much but a hunting party to rest up a bit and go after them, especially just on foot. And they make their way nearly out of sight, deeper into Eswind, and then one of the leaders says just that. Sends out a party to go hunt them down. The wolf dog its whimpers now just innate, and it feels this cold chill run down its spine, kind of licks at the wound where the arrow was broken off into it, and it lies down for a moment in the battlefield, just to rest. Just a moment. But from this, it will not wake up. As it drifts asleep peacefully, you drift back awake in your own kind of peaceful way. Now alone in the dirt, you see as you kind of roll over the blood on the rock where you hit your head. That's one way to get you to go back to sleep and finish a dream. Finish a dream vision, I suppose. What you do notice is that there is the blood on that rock, but as you kind of feel your head, it's been tended over with a salve of herbs. You immediately recognize as like a very familiar druid, like herbal salve. What you notice is that it is from a plant that definitely wouldn't grow out here. But just so happens one was just planted in the dirt not too long ago, and it has already borne fruit, sprouted from the dirt. You see where she had planted it now stands that very familiar to you healing herb growing in an environment it should never.
He's gonna...
It is a herb you had seen once before, planted in a different way by a friend, an old friend, a friend no longer with us, this flower of Zehath. The very familiar white with the red veins that go through the flower. The irony of the flower of Zehath being red, or at least having red accents.
He's gonna reach down and pick one of the flowers and just admire it and kind of just take a second, and before he turns around and goes back inside, heads back to the cabin.
Those who wish to be may scurry awake, however you so desire. And as you do that, we should take a break, maybe, yeah? Is it about that time? Yeah. What'd you say? You're muted, so whatever you're saying.
We've just been up, we've been alive for an hour.
Yes, we only have an hour after this, so we take a break and it'll just be an hour then too, so, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Unless we don't want to take a break, we don't have to take a break. I'm good to go. If we don't want to take a break, then what is this, yes or no? Yes, break, or just go? That's I asked a yes. I think
that's yes, just go.
It was it wasn't a yes or no. Yeah, we'll just continue that. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So those who wish to wake may. and do what you will.
That flower bit was just so beautiful. I'm sorry.
Surprise, bitch.
I knew it. I knew it as soon as you said it. I loved it. Sorry. Continue.
I'm going to roll over and bump into Aurelia, then look at the bubble above us and pop it, and let the snow just ploop us awake. Greet her in the morning and take her inside to go check on Kieran. Good morning, Kieran.
Good morning.
And you sleep?
I mean, I really don't sleep. You seem to be sleeping a lot more frequently than I do.
That's one word for it, yeah.
Otherwise, I feel rested. It's was interesting. I honestly don't know if I can properly put it into words, but you certainly impressed Kazrak. Had nothing but regard for this. He apparently had never experienced anything like this. He'll probably ask you a few questions once he gets the opportunity.
Well, here's to hoping we don't meet again.
There is a level of concern, though. It is so real, so emotionally infatuating that if you weren't in the proper headspace, you might not ever want to wake up. I'd be leery of whom we actually utilize this against, or with, or on. But it is so beautiful. We really must find a way for you to experience it, and regardless.
I plan to eventually, but now is not the time.
No.
There's too much strategic movement that needs to be done first.
It's just hard to get the images out of my mind, but fortunately we do have business. And honestly, I would very much like to speak with Jothrind. At least in regards to the message he sent. And I have quite a bit of information to relay to everyone. I won't give you the details now, but I think we have a plan of action for what we have to contend with. Not that it's going to be easy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually itching to get out of Herondine. We've been in one spot too long, it's making me uncomfortable.
Well, I believe our first destination is not going to be much warmer, but it would be Sirach. I think the time has come that we need to contact Zuther after my conversation with Kazrak.
Well, Zuther did say to stay away for a long, long time. It's been, 3 weeks, a month since dawn?
It's not terribly long, I know, but...
Not quite us following the directions, no? Long, long time. 4 weeks. Hey, guys, that was rather quick for a long, long time, but okay.
Well, perhaps we should gather everyone and discuss what I had learned from Kazrak. It's not necessarily good. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to elaborate on, but that's basically what his segue was. I think that we need to have a conversation with the group.
That wasn't to me, was it?
Oh no, that was mainly this guy. Was there anything else that
Okay.
you wanted?
Yeah.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Do you want to gather Aurelia and everyone? I'm going to send a message out to Jothrind, and then as far as communicating with Zuther, I'm sure that can be conducted after we
Oh yeah, I think
discuss.
I can get everyone here very quickly, and she's gonna run into the kitchen, grab a pan and a wooden spoon, and start banging it to get everyone's attention.
Well, it certainly will get everyone's attention, yes.
Mm.
Excuse me one moment, though. I'm going to step into, like, the side room or outside where it's not as loud to try to send a Jothrind. I don't know what you'd like to conduct first. Okay, got it. I'll spend a spell to send Jothrind. It's Karan. I hope that you're in a position to respond. I spoke with Kalandra, and she told me you had summoned her back. Perhaps I'm paranoid. Just want to verify your action and your status.
It is good to hear from you, Karan. You may have just cause to be paranoid. It was not I that sought for her. It was Catherine herself. She had caught wind that there is one among us who is powerful. One of her travel companions has been regarding details of their trip and her abilities. Catherine would like to see them for herself. Not sure that bodes well.
And another. Is there anything that you can do to prevent her return? Will that compromise too much? Honestly, I want her not to return. Now knowing that it is Headmother Catherine, and whatever she has in mind, I don't trust her. Even if there is no immediate danger, I don't trust her enough to allow Kalandra to return to her presence, to her, within her grasp.
Once again, quite justified. If she thinks that it is because she is worthy to replace her, she may see it as a threat. I see it as an opportunity. What I think we should do, we should meet. Just us. I, for one, would like to see for myself. If we meet, and I see what she can do, I will know then who is worthy to replace Headmother Catherine, which is long overdue. Obviously, she sees her as a threat. Good. On that, you get a message that comes in through to yourself.
Okay.
I am unsure of where would be safe to meet. I want to say east of Kinghaven. Of course, we get closer to Trivane that way, but we stay further south. Perhaps nearer the Halfling lands.
That is
Trivane is not known to... Trivane is not known to request the aid of many a halfling. fortunately. I know it's a bit of a journey's from wherever you may be. I'm sure I can make my way out there and we shall meet. I will request that Calandra meet us there as well, before she ever makes her way even close to Kinghaven. I look forward to our meeting. I will let you choose the town. You guys are so happy. You're so excited. You're so excited.
I'm very glad to hear.
This is your reply, so that's free for you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was figuring. It was response. It's my turn to not spend resource. I'm very glad to hear that, and your extension to travel. I believe there is potential in her. I have a discussion to have with the party to determine what our next steps are, considering what I've learned from Kazrak. So I, or Briar, will follow up to let you know what our destinations would be so that we can best coordinate this. If the halfling lands are not viable for some reason, there is always further to the north, northeast. That is an option we have, and I can elaborate on that further. Take care, and thank you.
After some time, you get the just that he's just accepted what you said, and we'll wait for your reply as to not waste any more conversation. He will just wait for you to, he understands you need to probably talk with the party and all that. So, yep. And then that's for you to do more of what you will. I know you wanted to send other messages.
We'll do, so the remainder of the settings will be after the discussion. I think that was the only thing I wanted to do first and foremost.
Sure.
Talk with the group, and then we can worry about Zuth and everything else. Because, just to affirm, Jothrin's got this. He's going to talk to Calandra and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. So he doesn't know anything about Calandra. He doesn't even know that you guys know Calandra. So he's going on the fact that, like, he has his own, like, things. He's doing his own shit. What you can get from this is that he was already intending to do this. So, like, the fact that you know Calandra or, like, this, like, it's, like, more affirmation for him that, like, maybe this girl is something. So he was trying to head this off already. Like, he saw that Mother Catherine is probably, like, jealous and, like, who is this person who is probably actually good? like actually a
better
good
than
healer.
Me, nicer than me, younger than me. I hate her.
You get the sense that he was already kind of like just on his own quest on what he strives for, striving to meet with her first and see for himself, essentially. So he's trying to just head that off before she just gets trapped in King's Haven. So
just getting the double check out there, make sure I didn't give one opinion.
I would say even just with like passive insight and stuff too, just for sake of like, I know it's like a big concern, but like just with passive insight, it seemed on brand with Jothrin. It didn't seem like any kind of mind control shit going on like that. So you can kind of rest assured about that. Yeah.
Well, Karan, we'll go back inside to, I'm assuming Bree still pounding the cookware together.
Until everybody is there.
Well, good news is that Jothrin is already mitigating. Bad news is that was not he who had invited her, per my suspicions. And neutral news, we have more options available to us now. So, once everyone's here,
Asher's walking in, holding his head like, "Hurry, can you stop?"
Yeah, it was on the
for,
back of the head.
5
kinda,
minutes.
yeah.
Got a mild headache right now. I'll
Good.
be down in a second.
Good.
And he's gonna walk upstairs to like go grab Coria and make sure, like, it's a complete group conversation.
She rouses from her sleep once again, elegantly in her way, and just comfortably nuzzles up into you, as if almost like in a very like toddler-esque way of like that sleepy-eyed like just woke up kind of thing, but then like rouses out of it like and you see as she like sits up on the side of the bed, just a little baby bump hanging over the just the slightest little bit, just that little tummy, as she sits on the side of the bed there. Good morning.
Good morning. We have some things that the group needs to discuss, and I'd like for you to join in on it. We'll talk more after.
I wouldn't miss it.
And he'll hand her like a cup of juice. I was gonna say coffee, but that's like terrible for pregnant women, I think. Go get ready, and then he'll go downstairs yelling at Bree to stop banging pans together.
Cole would kind of walk through the back door with like an apron on, and surprisingly covered in blood, and just kind of look at everybody, be like, "I thought I was back in the village for a minute. That's how my mother used to get our attention all the time."
And so you went in a bloodthirsty rage, and
Oh, no. I killed a pig for dinner. Is this too much? Should I go get cleaned up?
it's okay. I think we have a lot to talk about, so why don't you just stay trippy, and we will worry about the hygiene later.
Oh, okay.
Rowan's still in the barn is taking his sweet ass time because he don't hear shit.
Well,
He's gonna wake up again after sleeping in another hour or two.
The same thing.
Gently push Evelyn awake.
You notice as you kind of like wake up that where you go to like turn to wake her up and push her awake, she's actually already awake, and she was just, you know, doing that not creepy watch you sleep kind of thing in the completely most romantic way possible.
You know, we were supposed to be up a little while ago.
Well, you looked too comfortable.
It was pretty cozy. I'm starting to grow onto this little barn, and it's not the best smelling, but you know, it's
It's a
something.
fixer-upper.
I'll have to talk to my dad about making a guest bedroom in the barn or something.
By the talks of it, we may not need to. I don't think the queen would spare any expense with the barracks that's being built.
We'll have time. I guess we got time. But I think it's time for me to maybe try to go find Asher. I need to talk to him. Oh. You heard most of that, right?
Yeah,
His dream.
that's concerning.
Yeah, I need to talk to him. But more importantly, where his mindset is, I want to make sure he's okay. Funny enough, we're like family, you know? We've bonded a lot, him and I. I'd see everybody as a brother or a sister. I feel like I gotta look after him in some way. I'm gonna just tell her to keep the shirt. I'm just gonna go and start go into my bag and pull up my other shirt and put that on and start putting my armor on and make my way towards the house, probably a little bit later than what Briar would want, but I'm not aware.
And as you get closer, you just hear pong, 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 pong.
I'd imagine it's probably a little bit later than that, but yes.
I imagine that Bree would continue to do
Yeah,
it.
Bree would continue to do it until every single person was there.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna pop in unfazed.
Your Royal Majesty, good to see you.
He's gonna put his hand up to you. Asher, I need to talk to you.
Do you want to do it after?
I kind of need to talk to you right now.
Fair enough. We'll be right back, I guess.
Gonna usher him to the front of the house since the kitchen's towards the back. Rowan is going to fiddle with his hands a bit when we go outside. I don't like snooping or eavesdropping, and I'm gonna point to the barn. I heard it, and I wanted to tell you as soon as I woke up, so it isn't like I'm hiding anything. I don't know. It feels weird knowing something you're not supposed to know.
Lots happened the last month, and I think we'll discuss it more, but I'm gonna see this through with you all. Between what follows and said, and whoa, this bump on the head I got. I think I need to see this seed planted. See it to the end.
I was trying to convince you to do that. No, I don't need to do that. You're my brother. As Dom was. As Karan is. Sister. Briar and Aurelia. I don't think we'd be able to see it through without you, to be honest. So here I was planning on convincing you otherwise. You seemed hesitant with my father.
Yeah, he made some good points.
He does that. Oh.
Let's go have a meeting, because there's a lot that...
With what you said, I think we need to bring Jazeera into this conversation as well.
There's more information that came out, I think.
Yeah. Right,
probably your mother and Evelyn should be able to.
She's either making her way or has already made her way into the kitchen. So
Okay, let's go have this.
Gesture towards the front door.
And he'll lead Rowan back into the kitchen and sit down.
as we go into the kitchen, I'm gonna give Evelyn a thumbs up that I
She
talked to him.
just smiles and nods, and then nods at Asher though as he walks in.